Hall of Fame shit, nigga.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Get out of there.
Keep it. Come on, get out there. Get out there.
Okay.
Good catch, my boy.
Yeah.
5 Unit Nation, man. Number one, man.
Hey, my dog, run this shit up, man. Let's go home. We spend.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of SGDS Same Goals, Different Struggle podcast. I am your host, Ajay Brown, man, and this is episode 130. Today, man, I am welcoming not only a mentor, a now author, a boxing coach, head leading trainer, um, just a father figure in my life. Man, what else can I say about Coach Rob Lewis, man? How you doing, Mr. Lewis?
Great, man. How you doing? And thanks for having me on the show, man. You know I'm honored. I'm real appreciative. I'm very grateful and thankful.
Nah, Coach,
Give me the
I'm
spotlight.
honored to have you back, man. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
We're gonna do a bunch of more.
All
Thanks
right,
for
man. Before we get started, I just want to ask you, how are you doing today, man?
I'm great, man. I couldn't be no better. I'm great.
All right, man. I got you here today, man, because you've been working on different things behind the scenes, and one of the things I'm most proud of is your new book. You have a new book out called Lil Ed and the Secret Backpack, man. Now I want to say, and there goes the issue that is out now on Amazon. And did you did you do the audio?
No, not yet. I did the ebook.
You did the ebook,
Yeah, I
okay.
did ebook. My son's supposed to do the audio. He hadn't did it yet, but we're gonna get it done.
All right, so where can everybody buy this purchase this book?
Amazon. Right now, Amazon is the best place.
All right, then Amazon. So I have a few questions today that I would like to ask. Well, I ain't gonna say just a few, but we have some questions that we'd like to get into. Before we get started on the book, right? I would like to ask you, who is Coach Rob and what inspired you to start working with the youth?
I guess by the way I grew up, when I was growing up, many people was not there for our youth. So many people was not there for our youth. So that inspired me to um, um, reach out to the kids. And then, I'm a foster parent. And so, uh, I don't know. I've been working with youth since I was a youth. Since I was like 13, I organized a cleanup crew in the neighborhood that where we would go take care of um, older people yards and stuff like that, and just see what they need to do. They need to take out trash. Then we did that. I always been dealing with the youth ever since I was a youth. I was dealing with younger kids. So that's
Okay,
pretty.
then. So let me ask you. So you would say like just working with the youth, like you just wanted. Is it something that you just seen growing up that made you feel like you wanted to help the youth see something different?
Yeah, because we had people that was older than us, but was not reaching back to us. People that was in high school, um, they just didn't do it for us. They didn't take care of us and let us, try to take us down the right road. They was trying to take us down the wrong road. It was okay to go down the wrong road, but I didn't want that for the kids that was younger than me. I just wanted to steer them and let them know, just be nice. Let's just be nice. I believe, just being nice, um, is better. And to me, being nice to people, things come to you, man. Things just open up for you. A lot of things open up for me, man. Just being nice, just fall in my lap, you know, just being nice. And I always tell my son that just be nice. And that's the same thing with the kids. Just get educated. Where we come from, you got to get educated. You got to make sure that you're educated and just be nice. Them two things that I believe in: education and just being nice. Discipline and all that'll come, but if you're not nice, don't care what kind of discipline you have, this life ain't gonna work. Your discipline might work, but life is not gonna work good for you.
All right, so you coached the athletes for a decade from kids to professional fighters. How did that journey shape who you are today?
Um, I don't know. I've been training kids and dealing with kids all my life, and my whole thing is I just want to elevate kids, and elevate anybody that I'm training. So I really study hard when it's time to train people. I just want to make sure that I know what I'm doing and, you know, um, give them the best. And the same thing with the kids. Kids are so different. You got to know how to come at them at certain angles. You got to come at them a certain way, and then they'll do what they need to do for you or for themselves.
Okay, then. All right, then. Let me, cause I can get back into everything. Since we're speaking on kids, right? What was the motivation into you writing this book?
You know what? I really don't know, man. But you know what? I'll go back. Like my life story is when I was a young kid, I would always get picked on in my neighborhood because of my skin color and my hair. Had that real nappy hair, real dark skin. And when I was growing up, it was about the blackness against the darkness against the light, light against the darkness. That's what it was all about when I was growing up. So a lot of light people did not like me. And then a lot of times, man, and I was so, and then in my house and other people's house I would go to, on the wall I would see a white Jesus. No disrespect to anyone, but I would see a white Jesus on everywhere you cut on the TV, white. You go to school, everybody that was over you, white. Everywhere you went was white. So by people uh, talking bad about my skin color and stuff like that, I would go in the back of my grandmother house on the back side, and she would have this little. It's not a room, but it's outside, and I would go in the back corner, like playing hide and go seek, but I was by myself, and I would just cry like a baby, and I was asking God, why did you give me this dark skin? Because I can't compete with them white boys, them white kids, they way ahead of me. I can't compete with them, and at times that would bother me, and then at times, other people would bother me about my skin color, but I was a little different. I was a little had a learning disability, I think, because I didn't learn as fast. I had to watch to learn, and they had to study and stuff like that. So, I did that. And then, my friends, mother and parents didn't really like me. Their grandma didn't really like me. They was light skinned and they didn't really like my skin color and stuff and thought I was going to be a horrible person. So, me dealing with all them issues and then uh, going through foster care, watching people's in foster care, being a foster parent and stuff. I didn't go through foster care, but being in foster care, watching kids, they can't read. They got so many issues, man. And I just said, well, one day I was just thinking, I said, if I could write a book about some of my life stories, because I was hurt as a kid, didn't have nobody to turn to, you know, you need a support system, man, because some of the kids are not going to speak to the parents about what's going on. You really have to have a real great relationship for them kids to come to you, to sit down and tell you. They'd rather talk to their friends. So I wanted to write a book about my life, in a sense, and everybody else's life and everybody else's struggles, and make sure that the family, like this book, gave a lot of emphasis on family support, gave a lot of emphasis on neighborhood support, and a lot of emphasis on there's a group of kids in there called the Dream Squad, and they all come together for one goal, one team. They all come together and support each other, and that's what I think it need to be in life, because the kids have it, but we got to find a way to that's gonna spark them. It's a way, but we got to. All the kids are not the same, so we got to find out what is gonna spark little Timothy or little Teresa or little Mecca or whatever. We got to find a way to spark what's gonna spark the kids to elevate themselves to a higher level. So
Let me. Can I ask you a quick question? Because we speak about this all the time with like kids just being influenced by certain things, and then just what like what would be something that you feel, because we know that reading is something that kids is not like, most kids are not even on grade level when it comes to reading.
that they won't read now.
And I know a lot of times we depend on the schools to teach them, but we're I come from, and I believe that it's on the, not just the parent, but your village, if you have a village. But if not, on the parents to at least teach your kids not only about trying to, not like teaching your kids how to read before they even get to school, and just not to putting everything on the schools to do everything, because I don't feel like the schools are going to put the effort, always put the effort. Some teachers will, some won't, but some of these teachers, again, not even paid, and they have their own problems, and you have to deal with so many other different kids that are, you know what I mean, like lashing out, looking for attention. So some kids do get left behind, get left out, or some kids don't even learn on the same grade level or on the same momentum as the other kids. So they get discouraged, or they feel like it's nothing else but to go to what they feel is easier, which would be selling drugs on the street or robbing somebody, something that's quick and fast, right?
Right.
And we know that anything that comes quick and fast never lasts. How would you motivate kids to see a different light and know that even if it's a longer route, you can succeed much better with taking the longer route than taking a quick, faster route that can lead to a longer, harder pain of life?
I don't know. I think that for me, reading would be mandatory, and the parents have the time, but they just don't want to have the time. They want to get the kids their phones, their tablets, stuff like that. And it's easy for them because they're babysitters. And no disrespect to the parents or how you run the parents' life, and that's just how it's supposed to be because some of us gonna make it and some of us gonna fall. So wherever you at, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with wherever you at. But for the ones that want to do better, then you got to make it mandatory. You got to make it mandatory before they go to sleep, before they get outside, before they do anything. Let them work first, then play. I always tell my son, play now. I mean, work now. You can be able to play little later when you're in your life, but if you play now, you can always work. So always work hard now, because they don't take long to work. They don't take long to read. Just focus on it and read. And then you know that when you get up, okay, I'm gonna read for 15 minutes, I'm gonna read for 30 minutes, or today I'm gonna read for an hour. Monday I read every day in the morning for like 15 minutes. On the weekend, my parents make me read for an hour. I read for 30 minutes in the morning before I go to bed. I make sure I do that. And that's that focus. That's that discipline. That's what you got to give to them. And not knowing they're learning, but they're learning. And a lot of things they're going to be coming up to. Like when you put your time in like that, man, you get better and you get better and you get better. Things will come to you more. You know, that's just like if you putting your time in being bad, then you're gonna have things that come to you being bad. That's just energy. When you work a 40-hour week, they're not gonna pay you for 30 hours. They're not gonna pay you for 50 hours. That's universal law. They're gonna pay you for 40 hours. And it's the same thing with life. Whatever you put in, you're gonna get out. If you ain't putting in nothing, don't be mad. I mean, I got some kids like in foster care, man. And one of the kid, he was want to play basketball. I want to do this. I want to do have a whole year to prepare, but he prepared a week before, and then he get cut, and then he start crying and being upset. And I'm just like, why are you crying when you didn't put no time in? They're not gonna get all the other kids that's in front of you. They putting in time. So why would the universe let you make it, but you ain't putting in no time? But then you're gonna grow up not putting in time, so you think it's okay not to make it. You think it's okay not to put time in because you're gonna always make it. Don't work like that. You got to put in time. I don't care what you're doing. You need to put in time. And for these kids, if the parents can just get them just reading and interacting with other people, taking them to places, speaking to other people, our social skills are horrible. The kids' social kids skills are horrible. If we could just get to them, like kids in foster care, man, and defects, they have bad social skills, man. They don't want to deal with nobody. They'll take their food and go back to their room and eat. I mean, it's bad, man. It's really bad, and it's a way we can tap on. I don't know how to tap into each one of them, but I know it's a way. I don't think
You
it's no written thing, but I know it's a way. Okay, this kid, like for instance, when I used to train Evander and I would train Tyson, I didn't train in the same way, but I understood him, and so I would listen to Mike the way he do things, and I would educate myself. Okay, he like this, he want this, he did this, Holyfield like this, and that's how I was so good at training them guys because I listened. I listened and I studied them. I really studied them, and that's why I was good training them guys. But that's the same thing with life. You got to listen. You got to pay attention. You got to do what you need to do to move forward. But every kid like Van and Mike, they totally different.
What made because okay, so what made them two? If you got two different kids like that, one that's a vendor and one that's like Tyson, right?
Mhm.
How did you handle if it? And how did you handle each one if they're different?
See, it's like both of them, for instance, like they will come in, Mike will come in, and he had a certain walk to himself, right? And I would pay attention to his walk. I would pay attention to his energy, how he talked, everything. And Holyfield had the same thing. And I would pay attention. That's how I would go work him a certain way and stuff like that. But and you got to listen. You got to listen, not really listen with your ears. You got to listen with your eyes. Pay attention and watch how you be able to stir these people. And that's the same way with kids. Both of them are work animals. Both of them, once they get going, they animals. That's why they was on top of the game because they work extremely hard. I trained Whitaker, um, Holyfield, and Tyson, and they all work animals. I know that's why they was on top of the world. You know what I mean? They was disciplined. They was doing their thing, and that's the same thing with the kids, man. You got to figure out what the kids have in them. I don't know what they have in them, but you got to figure it out, and then you can take this kid this way, but I can't take that one that way. That's like you can whoop this kid, but you don't need to whoop this kid. You can just talk to this one because he'll get on straight. But this one right here, you might get in his, you know what I mean? But they are so different. So once you start dealing with them and listening to them with your eyes instead of listening to them with your ears, you'll see things, and then you'll be able to, point them in the right direction.
Nah, that's just how I be dealing with my three because each one of them I see I see a part of me in them, but I also see each a different side of me in them, right? And even though they're not me, I evaluate how just about like how to handle each situation. How like you know what I mean? I have to evaluate each situation because
Oh yeah,
each
they
one of them
different,
handle different. You know what I mean? I can't get on each one the same way because they handle it different
but
and
we
they
don't we
respond
don't
different.
yeah, we don't do that though. We do the same thing. And see, that's like, you ever heard like white people say like, man, I just hate them. I just hate them. Like you ain't even dealt with them. Maybe you had a bad experience with one. Like I used to tell my wife, she would say, well, I don't like that restaurant. I mean, you could say you don't like the restaurant, but the restaurant is thriving. You might not like what you ate at that restaurant, but it's 40,000 other things that you can eat because everybody else eating them. So they're making their way, but you just don't. You might not like the atmosphere, or you don't like the food, that particular food that you ate. But the restaurant can't be a bad. You can't put that on the whole thing. You can if you want, but that don't make sense. And that's the same thing with kids. You have to do it in the same way. You got so many different things that you can do with the kids, man. But they'll respond once you see. They'll respond because they're so different. You're right. You got to train them and teach them. Because you can maybe say like I used to train Elijah Holyfield, and his brother Evan. Evan would be all over the place, and you have to sit there and watch him and tell him this and that. But you can give Elijah instructions, and he's a workhorse. He gonna get it done. He gonna work. You know what I mean? He gonna get it done. And then when you get back to Evan, if you Elijah, you come back to Evan. Evan might be outside somewhere. He might be doing his thing outside somewhere. But when Evan learns stuff, he learned. He don't forget it. But when Elijah learns so quick, you got some kids that's gonna learn quick, and then they're gonna forget it. So that's the difference with a lot of things. You might have to keep going over. People tell me when I was in Germany training athletes, like, Coach, you do the same thing all the time. Yeah, that's good. That's gonna get you. I want you to learn it when you're in your sleep.
Yeah,
You can
I
easily do.
surely do. I don't miss that shit. That jab, like hell, it's just I hate it, dog. Like Like we used to stay on shit for the longest. Like, man, nah, dog.
But you got to
Let's do
jam.
something else.
Yeah.
Let's do
But see,
something else.
you move people, when you start moving people quick, man, they lose stuff. You know, like Evan, a guy like Evan, he not gonna learn it because it's too quick. A guy like Elijah, he gonna learn it, but gonna lose it as well. He'll get it right then, but he'll lose it because he's not gonna stick with it. He'll be looking for the next thing to learn. Because some people learn faster than others, like you were just saying, about people learning. Some people they're not on the same level of learning, but they're in the same classroom. But they not particularly, even if they're in one classes, they might not be on that same level. So some of them might have to study harder than the others to be on that same level. But it's fair. They're in the same class. It's fair, but then it's not fair. But some of the ones
How do
don't
you
don't learn as fast.
contribute?
Hmm?
So how do you contribute before I? Because I'm gonna transfer over to this to your book, but I want to ask you this, right? You have kids like that that's around other kids that might, because in our community, right? We all know that the smart kid, the kid that seems smart, the kid that seems like he just know everything is the one that seems to get picked on, the one that seems to be called lame or whatever you want to describe it as for in our community. How do you preach to kids? Because we all know that that could also discourage a child because it could come in a form of a sense of bullying or just wanting to fit in, peer pressure, or anything. How do you combine that in a sense where we try to transfer making being smart cool and making it seem like being like you know what I mean, like you can fit in if you're smart. It's a great thing to
Right.
be smart. It's actually the best thing to be smart. To not only, and I don't mean like a degree, like you gotta go to like a PWI school. I mean knowing your history beyond what they give you smart.
Right. Well, my thing is like I think that comes from your family and your surroundings, your support system, and they gotta let you know it's okay to be smart. Then the whole thing that it's okay to be bullied, but you gotta learn how to deal with it. That's just a source of something that you gotta deal with through your life. That's just an obstacle course that you gotta go through, and you gotta figure out how am I gonna go through this. I need to go through this with somebody holding my hand, or I need to go through it with fighting, which you don't, or do I need to go through it with my teacher? It's certain things you're gonna have to go through. Everything is not gonna be smooth selling. So that's good. That's gonna let them adjust who they are. They're gonna get strong in that area. But my thing with that, with the parents, you teach them about smartness, and you find people and let them help other people. Let them help other kids that's struggling. And I truly believe, man, if you have this other kid that's probably not on your level, that's a little lower than you, if you go to him and talk to him and believe in him because you believing in him, he need that, and you help that kid, and then that kid will start to turn around, and then you're gonna be able to help other kids. See, because a lot of times them kids that's at the bottom like that, don't nobody help them, don't nobody want to be with them, don't nobody fool with them. But if you get that smart kid that go on and say, hey, AJ, let me show you how to do this. No, I don't want you. No, no, let me show you. Let me show you. And not be scared, not be afraid to do anything like that. Yeah, but bullying, talking trash, bullying, all that stuff, man. We had to deal with it. That's the way of life. Well, when I was younger, man, like the reason I came up out of that, that's why it's hard for people to get at me now because I had to go through so much stuff. And they used to tell me back then, you got to have thick skin, man. You got to have thick skin. And all of a sudden, it just changed. One day, somebody had did something to me. A parent had talked trash about me. And I was just left and went up the street, man. I was just like, wow, trying to figure out why would that happen to a 7-year-old, 8-year-old kid. And I was like, you know what? And I started smiling. All I want to be then, I said, I just got to be nice. I just got to be nice. And I was a nice kid, but all I wanted to do then was just be nice and serve, just serve people, to take care of people. And I'm the same way since. I'm the same way. I don't be tripping about nobody um, talking trash or
Yeah, yeah.
bad.
I don't know how you do that. And we had that discussion all the time, and I get mad at you for that shit all day, every day. Cause I don't I think people take advantage of just you being nice sometimes. You feel
Yeah,
me? And
but
I don't like that.
But it's okay though. It's okay. Everybody's not designed to travel, man. To travel up. So when you travel up, if somebody's attached to you, just keep elevating yourself to the next level. They'll fall off. Their air get thin at the top, baby. Get very thin, and they can't hold on. You just keep climbing. You don't even have to do nothing to them. Just keep climbing. They'll fall. That's what an eagle do to a crow when he attach on and start jumping on. It don't even bother the eagle. He just know the eagle. He just know the crow can't hold on because he can't breathe that thin air. Just take him up. Just keep elevating yourself to a whole nother level. That's it.
Let
That's
me
my
ask you this. Let me ask you this, right? Who is Lil Ed, and why did you create his character?
Lil Ed is all of us. Lil Ed is a problem. That's not as a say as a problem, but the reason I came up with Lil Ed because there's so many different things that we had to go through. You know, I listen to stories, man, like, whoo, this kid went through that, this kid went through this kid went through that. But I wanted him to be a different. I didn't want him to be a black kid. I didn't want him to be a white kid. I just wanted him to be a character. I just wanted people to feel what he has going on. Because so many people, I heard this from adults. There's so many adults that read the book.